counting 2nd of July. That's an easy tie. Also, remember when you hosts laughs when I predicted Rovers finishing 9th? Who's crazy now? No, yeah.
Well,
anyone who predicted Salford finishing above 11th, I think.
yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I kind of Salford look all kinds of mess. And if we learn anything from this weekend, don't score first. That's the that's the answer from the TV games at least. But to be fair, until Atkin got himself sin-binned, horrendously unfairly from my point of view, but we can have an argument about that if you like. This game was all Salford. Salford were all on top. But it did feel to me that they kind of let that call kind of get on top of them. I mean, obviously, Atkin definitely did. You know, he definitely threw his toys out of the pram. But yeah, I mean, obviously, that was kind of the flashpoint that changed the momentum for me. But even so, Salford were really poor in this one. KR just did more with the possession that they had. They kind of, I don't know, they were a little bit more creative. They were trying things. Paul or Abdul is very dangerous with a bomb, as I think everybody could say that. But yeah, Salford were just really bad for me. Silly mistakes in defence. You know, even saying all that, KR had 2 players who actually had to go off for head injury assessments, didn't they, early on? And both of them couldn't come back. So you had players like Matty Staunton playing more minutes than you'd probably expect him to. George King playing more minutes than you'd expect him to. And even with those kind of things that would kind of be disruptions, you would say, KR looked by far the most comfortable team to me. Completely agree with John in terms of Salford just, you know, creating the overlaps and then putting the ball into touch. They did that at least twice that I've noted. Yeah, just very poor play from Salford, all in all, really. I don't really have much more to say. It kind of KR ran away with it in the end. But yeah, just very disappointing from Salford's point of view, because this would have been a game they'd have been hoping to do a little bit more in, but they looked a long way away from being competitive with KR, who have surprised us, I would say. They're definitely playing better than any of us, Tom accepted, would have predicted, I would say.
Well, so, even better than Tom predicted, because they're, you know, flying high in the top 6. I think lots of things are coming together well for them, aren't they? You know, especially around how well Abdul's playing, how well it's working when they're having Parcell and Litton on at the same time, and, you know, playing against Morgan Escaray, because what the fuck was he doing for the Kane Linnett try? I totally disagree with Tom Andrews' assessment that was Rugby League porn. It was because it was so bad defending. You know, I've given Morgan Escaray so much rope on the basis of he came into that Wigan side and was awesome beyond expectation in that 2017 World Club Challenge, but my patience has worn thin with his bollocks now. I don't think he's Super League quality at the moment. I think he's far too few moments of actual brilliance, but because he looks exciting, people give him the chance. Well, no, it's time to write him off. From what I can see, the way he's played the last few weeks, even when everyone was falling over and being great against Wigan for Salford, he actually bombed 2 or 3 attacking opportunities for them. Even in that game. So, and he did the same in this game. They were hampered a bit by, you know, not having by any means their ideal centre partnership. Joe Burgess was listed on the wing, but he played in the centres, and young Davies making his debut, maybe not quite Super League ready, but having to do a shift, and I don't think fitness wise he was there, and I think there's a few players like that. But another embarrassing moment for Salford was the Matt Parcell try, and you could say, yeah, it was quite well worked in that they played a run around so that he could then get on 2 big forwards, Paulie and moss up and get between the two, and credit that. But it was ludicrously easy, and I'm worried for Salford because of how easy some of these things work. Because I don't understand where. I don't know that Marshall can turn it around now. I don't know if the players are playing for him, because it's missed tackles. It's not just poor defensive reads. It's constantly missing tackles and playing bad passes.
Yeah. For me, Escaré made... I dread to think how many errors he made. There was the one from the kickoff and the start of the second half, passes into touch. Lola here wasn't much better, to be honest. But yeah, the players who have experience, like Lola here and Escaré and people like that, didn't kind of cover up for the inexperienced or coming back into the side. Yeah, playing out of position or lack of game time or whatever. They didn't cover up those kind of gaps that they had in their team. And yeah, KR looked very good, even if Ryan Hall is one of the most ungainly runners I've ever seen now.
Well, we'll end with a kind of positive maybe and talk about Ryan Hall, but the 3 cards, I agree with the general assessment that they were all a bit harsh. If Atkin was sin bin for dissent, then I can understand why he was pissed off with the decision, but if he's gone overboard in his reaction, then the referee has to take that option. I think what I think is referees maybe need to understand when something is clearly a close call.
Yeah.
Because that obviously would have been a close call because they were rolling over, and there needs to be another option maybe there of something. I don't know. We've said before there was the one in one of the cup games, wasn't there, a few weeks ago? And we sort of said, couldn't it just have been a play of the ball and everyone back to where they were, kind of on the same basis of when they do an offload on the held call and they just go back to play the ball, sort of thing. But I don't know. The Quinlan one, maybe technically letter of the law. If he's kicked it out of his hand when he's trying to score a try, it's a sin binning. Maybe that's why it was given as a sin binning. It was pretty soft, but maybe that's why. And then I agree that the late tackle felt more like a yellow card. I assume we're going to get a disciplinary out of that one and maybe a game ban for Paulie, because there was the way Kendall described it was pretty good. There was overly aggressive that led to flexion in the neck, and so a danger there, a risk. So I can't see that not leading to a ban, but it didn't feel that late. But it could have had a bad consequence. So I suppose I understand it, but I would have thought yellow card sufficient there, and it wouldn't have made any difference anyway, would it, on the timing of things? But yeah, Ryan Hall, you wanted to mention his ungainly running style, but should we also talk about the fact that he's top try scorer in the Super League?
All credit to the guy for regaining his try scoring form, but it's like his thigh muscles are too big for his body now, and he can't run because of the size of his thigh muscles.
He almost has to run around them. It's kind of like when Forrest Gump's running in his leg braces. So he's kind of running around them.
He's running around his legs. Yeah.
But Kenny Dow was exceptional, wasn't he, in this game? And Ryan Hall was really good too. That edge is working really well. Lynette as well, as much as he was given, paved the way to the try line. So, is Ryan Hall going to be in the conversation, not between pundits and us, but between Sean Wayne and Andy Last and that kind of the brains trust around the England setup?
I hope not. I'm very happy that he's back in the game and he's playing well, but not for me. I'm sorry. There's plenty of more fleet-footed options out there, I would say.
You gotta consider the top try scorer in Super League, though. Have you got anything else from this one to pull out, Alan?
No, let's move on.
Okay. A couple of games we know a bit less about, but actually a lot of fan views on this one. Warrington versus Wakefield. It was 14-6 to the wire at half-time, and they managed to romp home that advantage to a 38 points to 18 win. Marcus Griffiths was the referee. Warrington made ground far better than their visitors. 388 more metres, huge. 2.1 metres per carry, better average gain. Only one more clean break, but much more clinical, turning 7 breaks into 6 tries. Mike Cooper, 129 metres, so everything seems to be forgiven there between Coops and the Chinless Wonder. Chris Hill, 1 try assist, 118 metres, another one that might be trying to seemed like his England days were over, but maybe arguing that that's not the case. Jake Mamo, 1 try assist, 105 metres, and Gareth Widdop, 1 try assist, 100 metres. Some good performers for the Trinity side as well. Jay Pitts went sort of both ways. 47 tackles, 13 marker tackles, and 3 successful offloads. David Vafita had a try that Warrington need to wonder how was scored. 8 tackle busts, 110 metres and 2 clean breaks. Lee Kershaw had a try that Warrington need to wonder how was scored. 105 metres and 2 clean breaks. And Joe Westerman had 100 metres.
I think he might be questioning wire defence there. But anyway, on to the fan views. EFC78JU says, it was a decent performance for Wyatt with a 38-18 result. We got the tries we were after until Wakey came back out of nowhere, and then Wyatt came back after conceding to score again and extend the lead. I'll take the 2 points in the win percentage. That was some victory to save Steve Price from leaving early, also known as getting the sack, appointing Breers until the end of the season.
Brian Breers, is that a blessed reference? I think the beard's not quite the same now, I'm not sure. At Mike Dodd22 said, comfortable enough for the wire on the night. A very strong opening quarter in which Warrington scored 14 and Wakefield didn't enter the wire 20 once, ultimately set up the victory. Hill and Akwala both seemed to make a lot of metres through the middle. The stats will probably prove me wrong. Nice for everybody to be given a free gift on the way out, a pack of lateral flow tests.
Just what everybody wants. Wakey White says, tough day at the office for Wakey, with Wyatt just being a bit more dominant through the middle and showing a few more classy touches in attack to get the win. I felt Wakey were on the wrong end of some pretty tight 50-50 calls at key moments, which didn't help matters, but generally Wyatt just executed better on both sides of the ball and were well worth their win. On to Cass on Wednesday night now to end the hoodoo.
Neil Ormston said, they say be careful what you wish for. Well, normality has now resumed, it seemed. A crash on the M62 meant a typical shit Friday evening drive from Leeds, the usual flat post-big game loss atmosphere, and the predictability of comfortably beating one of the lesser teams without ever being under too much stress. COVID, what COVID? Widdop man of the match again. Did I mention I'd tipped him for Man of Steel? And we still need to sort our defence out. Yeah, I think he's kind of not getting the recognition Man of Steel wise though, is he? It's Tompkins and Paula Abdul now leading the way in the Man of Steel race.
Yeah, he might have had too many off weeks. And last one on this one, Lee Whitnell says, just what we needed after the humiliating semi-final exit. We were pretty dominant throughout, with Widdop pulling the strings. Charlie seemed to grow a couple of inches after each of his 3 trademark muscular finishes, and it was great to sing his name once more. Wakey tried to spread it early like Cass, but to no avail. All 3 of their tries came after our own silly mistakes invited pressure on our line. Still work to do.
Well, not quite the last one, because we had a late one in from David Hunter. He said, I was impressed with the second half, but they did it tough early on. Maybe they will put the Challenge Cup disappointment behind them and push for the Premiership now. So it seems, Widdop was getting praise there. Widdop's got praise in the match reviews I've read from this game, and he was given the Player of the Match Game Star Award in the League Express. So all seems to be kind of back to normality of Super League performances after the off day in the Cup for Warrington. Did you see the opening try that was scored? A really nice break with old school Chris Hill footwork at the line and a bit of a burst of pace as well to get through, and then offload to the supporting Widdop after the supporting Austin was pulled off the ball, pulled out of the play off the ball, but the fact that they were both there supporting meant that the try was still scored, and the League Express has given the second try to Ben Curry, but I think it might have been Toby King who actually got that score down.
It was a bit of that, or was it Charnley even at the end? So it seemed like all three of them had a bit of a claim to it. But it definitely looked like a try one way or the other to me.